In regards to DUIs and marijuana consumption in the state of Illinois, currently there have not been any approved saliva-based roadside tests. However, they are being researched. Drivers with blood tests that detect more than 5 nanograms of THC will be presumed to be under the influence and handled accordingly by the law enforcement officers presiding over the case. Having said that, the Illinois State Police is in the process of developing a DUI cannabis task force that will hopefully make the testing more comprehensive and objective for drivers who are using recreational marijuana and then operating vehicles. One major question that a lot of health teachers are starting to ask is, how are these new laws going to change the way we approach marijuana? One thing I think is important to notice is just because a drug is legal doesn't change the fact it can be harmful and or abused. As health educators, we need to continually remind students that their brains are not fully developed and the research on this particular drug are still in its infancy. I think what is very important would be to focus on the method of administration. How are they taking the product? Is it being smoked? Is it being ingested? And what that provides in regards to the difference of effects it might have on the body, the different types of THC, CBD ratio percentages, and what that means, and also even the strains of the flower, uh, whether or not a particular product was made from an indica or a sativa plant. Those things will all affect the way that that drug interacts within the body. We know that studies on adolescents are inconclusive because, again, it is in its infancy. One thing that has happened and been more prevalent these days is something called cannabis hyperemesis syndrome. Cannabis hyperemesis syndrome is something that can happen with chronic marijuana usage. It can be confused with something called cyclical vomiting episodes because that is what ends up happening. We know that marijuana can have the opposite effect and be an anti-nausea product for people who are taking drugs for chemotherapy and cancer. However, every drug affects everybody differently, and research is inconclusive as to why this is happening, but the high THC content and then possibly the way that the plants are being grown with pesticides and things of that nature are leading to this condition with some people. And what it is basically an intermittent vomiting episodes that can last days, if not weeks. And a lot of people end up in the hospital. A lot of people find temporary relief from raising their body temperature and taking hot baths that last for half hour to an hour. However, once that wears off, the cyclical vomiting continues. The only way we know that this chronic cannabis hyperemesis syndrome can stop is with the stoppage of marijuana usage.